Welcome back to the political safari, where foreign creatures migrate into the swamp, siphoning resources, buzzing around the halls of power, and leaving a trail of IOUs longer than a Pentagon audit. Today, we track a species that migrated from a faraway swamp into the wild American plains. And there, flapping its wings, feasting on taxpayer veins, and refusing to go away, is a persistent little pest that just won't quit. Behold, a tiny airborne grifter fluttering shamelessly through the corridors of power, wings buzzing, hands outstretched, and a survival instinct stronger than its grasp on reality, posing in fatigues, giving grand speeches, and circling around Congress like a lobbyist at a defense budget meeting. That, my friends, is Volodymyr Zelenskyy, the swamp mosquito. This little parasite wasn't always in the political wild. No, before buzzing onto the global stage, he was a comedian. That's right. Before leading Ukraine, Zelenskyy was cracking jokes, starring in sitcoms, and pretending to be president before actually becoming one. It's like if a meerkat from a wildlife documentary got elected head of the entire savannah. And just like any great method actor, he never broke character. Imagine a small, chirping tree frog in the wild suddenly declaring itself king of the jungle. Zelenskyy went from sitcom star to international war leader, faster than a cheetah on Red Bull. One moment he was pretending to be president on television, and the next he was standing in front of Congress in military green pajamas, shaking his tin cup like a street performer who just realized the tourists are loaded with cash. But the real test came when the swamp mosquito found itself in unfamiliar territory, a meeting with the undisputed king of the jungle himself, Donald Trump. Now, in the wild, when a mosquito approaches a lion, it typically operates with caution. It may hover respectfully, waiting for an opportune moment to feed without provoking the beast. But not this mosquito. No, it chose to land right between the lion's eyes and start demanding more. Trump, ever the regal lion surveying his domain, remained poised, his golden mane barely ruffled by the buzzing nuisance before him. With the patience of an apex predator fresh from a feast, he let out a low growl of wisdom, calling for an end to the bloodshed, a truce to restore balance. But the mosquito...
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring it into this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have? During the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean. And don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
It recoiled, its wings flapping erratically, refusing to land. Behind closed doors, it had already rejected a ceasefire, choosing instead to keep the jungle on edge, feeding off the endless chaos. This lion was proposing a way to let the ecosystem heal, to prevent unnecessary bloodshed. But the mosquito, it was having none of it. Like a stubborn tick, burrowing deeper, it bristled at the very notion of peace.
Україні потрібна міцна основа. Потім відсутність гарантій безпеки дозволила Росії розпочати повномасштабне вторгнення. І зараз, через відсутність визначених гарантій безпеки, саме Росія тримає цю війну. І гарантії безпеки потрібні. Саме відсутність гарантій безпеки для України 11 років тому дозволили Росії почати.
It wasn't here to negotiate, it was here to feed.
So I'm not hearing from you, Mr. President, a thought that you owe the president an apology.
I think that we have to be very open and very honest. And I'm not sure that we did something bad. I think maybe sometimes some things we have to discuss.
And then came a moment of pure irony. Zelenskyy himself admitted that without US support, Ukraine would be in a very, very difficult situation with a low chance to survive.
Can Ukraine survive without US military support?
Probably it will be very, very, very difficult.
Like a hatchling clumsily leaving the nest, it flailed through the air, barely staying afloat. While he didn't put a specific timeline on it, the Mosquito all but acknowledged its total reliance on foreign aid, fluttering in place, its tiny wings beating furiously, fully aware that without its host, it would drop faster than a flightless bird in a strong headwind.
How long do your troops have? Is this a matter of weeks or months? I mean, could they sustain a spring Russian offensive?
I can tell you frankly, without this support, we'll have no chance of winning.
But that's the magic of nature, isn't it? The smallest, most fragile creatures often make the loudest noise. They survive not by strength, but by persistence, by making themselves seem too vital to eliminate. And so it was. As the meeting concluded, the Mosquito buzzed away, convinced it had held its own. But the lion, it simply watched. Because in the jungle, patience is key.
We had a meeting today, as you know, with President Zelenskyy, and I would say it didn't work out exactly great. For he's looking to go on and fight. We're looking to end the death. 2,000 people died this week. Somebody would say, why do you care about Ukraine and Russian soldiers? I care about them. I care about everybody.
And even the most persistent mosquitoes eventually meet their end. Unlike most creatures that contribute something to their habitat, this species specializes in extraction, thriving not by hunting or gathering, but by persistently siphoning from its surroundings. All right, let's see just how deep this mosquito burrows into taxpayer veins. We're running old Zelenskyy through the swamp score, a test designed to measure just how deeply a politician or foreign leader is embedded in corruption. It's like checking a mosquito bite, only to find out your entire blood supply has been drained from your body. Every mosquito needs a reliable blood source, and this one has been feasting at an all-you-can-drain buffet. His official salary, as Ukraine's leader, a few thousand a month. His country's total aid received from the US, over $175 billion and counting. And let's not forget the whispers of corruption, scurrying through the underbrush. Allegations of mismanaged aid, missing funds, and deep-seated graft have cast long shadows over the mosquito's habitat. In the political jungle, where money evaporates faster than a watering hole in drought season, that's a red flag the size of a safari tent. But here's where things get interesting. Despite this massive influx of cash, Zelenskyy has openly admitted that Ukraine has received less than half of the allocated funds. It's like watching a vampire bat sink its fangs into a juicy buffalo, only for most of the blood to disappear into the mist, vanishing into the night like a shady pack of hyenas with offshore accounts. One moment, the mosquito was happily gorging itself, wings glistening with opportunity. The next, the jungle's most elusive financial black hole had swallowed another fortune. In the animal kingdom, we call this a disappearing act, and no creature has mastered it quite like this one. His final score on the bribometer, a 10 out of 10, because when it comes to sucking the well dry and losing track of the funds, no one does it better.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has reportedly said that he has no idea where most of the $200 billion in American aid went.
Spines are crucial in the animal kingdom, whether it's a lion standing tall or a snake slithering with precision. But what happens when a creature has no natural vertebrae? It simply flutters in whichever direction the wind takes it. Let's see if Zelenskyy has anything resembling a backbone, or if he just drifts on the political breeze like a lost butterfly. He promised Ukraine's sovereignty, but hands his country's future to Washington. He condemned corruption.
The system should be run by people who know exactly what war is and why cynicism and bribery at a time of war is high treason. Instead, soldiers who've been through the front line or who can't be in the trenches because they've lost their health can be entrusted with this recruitment system.
While oligarchs still run Ukraine's economy.
Dmitry Firtash, one of Ukraine's most powerful and wealthy oligarchs, showed me the spot where he was arrested during a business trip to Vienna in March. He posted a record-breaking bail of more than $170 million to get out of the police cell where he was held for more than a week.
He claims moral superiority, but bans opposition parties.
The Communist Party of Ukraine has been banned from operating and taking part in elections. A Kiev court upheld a government lawsuit which charged the party with, quote, inciting ethnic hatred and promoting separatism.
And controls media. When it comes to standing tall, this mosquito bends faster than a palm tree in hurricane season. His final score on the political spine density test? A 9 out of 10. Because the only thing keeping him upright is a steady supply of American cash.
Ukrainians haven't given up and won't give up. We know what to do, and you can count on Ukraine, and we hope just as much to be able to count on you.
In the animal kingdom, survival often depends on alliances. Some creatures form powerful coalitions, while others, well, they simply attach themselves to the biggest beast they can find and hope for the best. The swamp mosquito has mastered this art, clinging to the dominant predators of the ecosystem with unwavering dedication. Here's just a short list of its political survival tactics. Begging for more US taxpayer money every few months.
Українська армія протистоїть вже місяць у нерівних умовах, і я вже місяць повторюю одне те й саме. Щоб рятувати людей і наші міста, Україні потрібна військова допомога без обмежень. Як без обмежень Росія застосовує проти нас увесь свій арсенал, руйнує все живе, будь-які об'єкти, від житлових будинків до церков, від складів з їжею до університетів, від мостів до лікарень. І Україна зверталась до вас по літаки, щоб ми не втрачали стільки людей. І ви маєте тисячі бойових літаків.
Silencing the critics who dare question where the money is actually going.
We really have a very sophisticated anti-corruption system. Sophisticated not in the sense that it's difficult to understand, but in that it really consists of many elements. It's the most sophisticated in all of Europe. This is another requirement of the European Union. It was a requirement for Ukraine. And for many years, Ukraine was not trusted. I want to tell you that under me, we all voted for bills, all the anti-corruption reforms, almost all reforms, and all anti-corruption bodies today are independent. They work as requested.
Dodging the corruption allegations within his own government faster than a gazelle fleeing a lioness. And when J.D. Vance and Donald Trump suggested alternative paths, Zelenskyy threw a fit, like a mosquito swatted mid-bite, furious, flailing, but ultimately powerless to stop the inevitable.
Earlier today, I received an important letter from President Zelenskyy of Ukraine. The letter reads, Ukraine is ready to come to the negotiating table as soon as possible to bring lasting peace closer. Nobody wants peace more than the Ukrainians, he said. My team and I stand ready to work under President Trump's.
His final score on the legislative Bootlicker index, 9.8 out of 10, because this mosquito knows exactly whose blood to drink to keep itself airborne. Now finally, Volodymyr Zelenskyy's official swamp score, a 9.4 out of 10. His legacy? Turning foreign aid into an art form, buzzing around Washington and ensuring that the war machine never stops running.
You all know that we are operating with a minimum of weaponry. Yes, we are grateful very much for every support package that is provided to Ukraine from you, from your countries. But we need more weapons to drive Russian forces off our land, and especially in the Donetsk region.
And before we go, let's take one last look at the majestic swamp Mosquito in action.
And now I want to hand it over to the President of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. President Putin. He's going to beat President Putin. President Zelenskyy. I'm so focused on beating Putin, we got to worry about it. Anyway.
Absolutely breathtaking. And remember, the swamp never drains itself, but it sure does get deeper. So, who should we rank next on the swamp score? Drop your requests in the comments, and we'll see which political insect we're tracking next.